What's up, everybody? Clinton Foshee here, and
I'm Albert Chavez.
And today we're super stoked, straight out of Wales, now in Sacramento. We have Cory Poppins McKenna. First off, happy anniversary.
Thank you. Well, yesterday. Belated.
Happy belated. So how did you get the nickname Poppins?
That was from Urijah. My old fight name was Hobbit, and he hated it. He didn't want to choose me. So for the longest, he was pushing for Poppins, and then when he helped get the Contender Series opportunity for me, we decided to change it. That was my little thing. And then was like, okay.
So who came up with Hobbit then?
That was just because it was a running joke at the gym. A few of the guys would call me, and it ended up sticking. Just being the smallest person on the team, like they would always be like, "Oh, you're like an angry little hobbit," and it just ended up sticking. But yeah, you're right. I was like, "We need something sweet. Like you're watching the kids all the time. Like let's change this up a little bit."
I like now I get where I was trying to think where the Poppins would come from, but now that you say that super Mary Poppins, yeah.
Yeah, it's Mary Poppins. Like I was watching the kids a lot. I taught the kids classes, and then he was like, "Oh, well, you're British, so makes sense." So.
Got it.
That's so funny.
Got it.
So we saw some of your epic murals that you've been posting all over on social media. Were you always into painting?
Yeah, I've been painting for a while, usually just like canvases and stuff. I did try to like do like the whole selling them for a bit, but I wasn't making any money worth the time. I think I worked out I made like $2.50 an hour on one of the canvases I sold. So I ended up like just being like, this isn't worth my time. Like I just did it for fun. But then a few months ago, my friend came to visit and she was like, "Oh, like, will you assist me with my mural?" And I just ended up having a bunch of people interested, and I've kind of started building like a little side hustle off of it that I do around training.
Oh, sweet.
That's
yeah,
cool.
It looked really good though. I was like, man, this is super nice.
Just representing Sacramento too. I love it.
Yeah, couple months of work, and so yeah, hopefully it keeps growing. I'm having fun doing it, and like you say, it's a good little side hustle for me.
Right, it gets you away from training too, from just being so hyper focused on that and just relaxing too. So we know you're originally from Wales. What part are you originally from?
So I'm from Cwmbran. It's like a little town in Wales. I grew up a little bit in Colchester, England too, because my dad was in the military. So yeah, I just kind of split between the two places.
Yeah, with a little bit more context, what was it like growing up in Wales compared to coming out here in the States?
I mean, it's different. Like, so obviously growing up, I was young, I was in school. Like I didn't really train too much in Wales until I went back. So I grew up like from my young childhood in Wales. And then I spent like later primary school, kind of bit high school in England because my dad was in the military, and that's where I started training MMA. And then when I moved back, I continued training at like Shaw's MMA and like doing the jiu-jitsu in Cardiff and stuff like that. So like obviously growing up, it was nothing really to do with MMA or anything, just your regular childhood life. But you know, like I say, once I got into MMA, like obviously I feel like lifestyle wise it's very similar. Sacramento's climate is obviously brutal compared to Wales. I miss the rain. I miss the rain every single day.
Really?
So yeah, I keep threatening to go back there. I'm like once I'm done with MMA, I was like, I'm gonna go run away to the mountains and the rain.
Yeah, I know that's one of the things. I'm originally from Alabama. One of the things that I do miss about being from Alabama is the occasional, like there's hardly ever rain.
Sacramento.
Yeah.
In the wintertime.
I love that smell, especially during the summer when it's warm, that smell of that summer rain. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So
everyone thinks I'm crazy. Like when it's raining, like that's when I want to go out running and when I want to ride my bike outside. Like I'm like I love it so much. So yeah, that's probably like the biggest thing I miss about Wales is like actually, which is what everyone complains about, is like the rain and the seasons. And I love the mountains and everything too. So definitely something that I'm missing being in the city out here. But obviously the opportunity of training at Team Alpha Male was too big to pass up on.
Yeah. So speaking of, I know you said training MMA. What age did you start training? Because I know you were kind of young.
So I started like karate and the other martial art disciplines around like 10 or 11, and then I started MMA when I was 13.
Wow.
Wow.
So when did you know that you wanted to actually become a pro fighter?
I mean, I loved the sport. I took to it I was one of those kids. Uriah laughs and says I'm naturally ungifted. Like I don't have I'm not like a natural athlete. But martial arts was definitely something that I just fell in love with, like dove headfirst into. Like I was even at 10 when I was just doing karate, I was training 2 times a day every day. So it's definitely something that I was very passionate about. And then once I started competing, that's when I was like, oh, okay, like I can do this professionally. Like I wanted to obviously train it every single day and I wanted it to become like an important part of my life. But I'd say around like 14, 15, when I started having fights, that's when I was like, oh, okay, like this is actually what I want to do. Because you can't know if you actually want to do something professionally or for the rest of your life until you've actually done it. Like people talk about wanting to fight all the time, but like that first punch in the face, like I see somebody who go, actually, it's different.
It's not for me.
It's funny. I always think about the quote from Mike Tyson when Mike Tyson says everybody wants to be a fighter until you get punched in the mouth, and then it's see what happened was.
Start backtracking.
So going into what was your family's reaction whenever you told them you wanted to be a fighter?
So I actually started training with my mother and my brother. So my mom got me into karate, and then from there that's where I started trying out boxing, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai. And then once I decided I wanted to do MMA, I was like, all right, stop that karate nonsense, get over here. So she actually was one of my main training partners. We made our amateur debut on the same card.
Oh, wow.
My last amateur fight was her pro debut. So we actually were on the same, we would be in fight camp together and fight on the same cards, and they were super supportive.
That's crazy, that right? Is so epic. It's crazy because my youngest son is 6 and he's fixing to start training. And I didn't want him for the longest time. He's been wanting to train for a while. And I tried to talk him out of it because I'm in the so I know what it is for weight cuts. I know what it is for because a lot of people see this as this glamorous thing that you just go in there and you punch and you just fight and it's easy. But they don't see the behind the scenes 8-hour training days, having to watch what you eat at all times pretty much, especially during fight camps and all this stuff. So I finally decided and broke down, and we're going to sign him up. He's going to start jiu-jitsu. We looked at a boxing gym that he kind of wants to do. So I kind of broke down. It would be cool. I'm kind of old now, so I guess it would have to be like an AMI fight for him, but that would be super cool to have. Yeah,
I think it's good for everybody to be involved in. Like I say, I taught the kids classes from when I first started teaching kids classes. I was still technically a kid. I started teaching kids classes in 2013, and I've done it on and off since. And I think it's great for kids to be involved, and even if they're not competitive, I don't necessarily think that like you say the over management of the weight and stuff is the healthiest, but I also don't think it's required. If with jiu-jitsu and stuff, I don't cut weight if I'm doing a jiu-jitsu match. I never did. I don't think I think there's certain things that it's not worth it. But I definitely think that it's a great thing for kids to be involved in for say self-defense, self-awareness, especially jiu-jitsu, your body movement and everything. I think it's one of the better things for children to be involved in. And it doesn't have to be competitive. Yeah,
and the discipline and the humbleness. I know for me, once I started jiu-jitsu, it was huge for me because and you've experienced, it's jiu-jitsu, you can be really good and you can but then there's this one person at your gym and they could be beat by everybody else, but there's just something with them or whatever. It's just the humbleness and the brother sisterhood of jiu-jitsu and all of that just makes things, social skills, besides just the health benefits, but the mental health benefits and all of that. So I completely agree.
Oh, definitely. And I feel like it goes back to what you said about people thinking it's just glamorous and not seeing all the other sides of it. I know so many people that would talk all this talk about wanting to be a fighter, and then it's okay, well, now you're in camp, you got to do this, you got to do that, and they end up pulling out their fights and falling off. I worked with a couple amateur guys, And like literally I had like a guy a couple weeks ago that was like, yeah, now that I kind of know like what's going to take for me to like actually do this properly, like I'm not sure it's the right thing. And I'm like, hey, like I'm not surprised. Like it's definitely hard on people. And there's, like you say, there's no room for ego in this sport. There's always someone better than you. There's always someone working just as hard as you. And it's a ruthless sport. Like it's unforgiving. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, we lost a match, like we can hang our head. Like you're in a business where you can get hurt, or like, you know, there's always a lot riding on it. Like it's fighting at the end of the day. Like emotions are high, and like you say, like it's very competitive. And I just feel like you say, like it's, a lot of people just think it's super easy and like, oh, you're just gonna go fight, make some money. Like everyone thinks we're super rich, and it's just not the reality of anything.
It is not. Well, I was telling Albert the other day, because I run, like I said before, I run a management company, and like the average pay, like people don't understand also the financial side of it, because like incoming fighters make maybe 10K depending on for a fight, but like people don't understand. Or even if you make, you know, 20, 30, 40K for a fight, people don't understand all of the, you have to pay coaches, you have to pay, you know, your corner. If you're fighting, depending on what state or country you're fighting in, it depends on the taxes. Some of them are worse than others. On top of, you know, if you fly somewhere, you don't pay for just you're paying for your whole team for, you know, a week, 2 weeks, or whatever. So like,
and the medical too.
And the medical. So like, that's what I was telling him, because we were talking about somebody had missed weight, and he was like, you know, this person was like very aggressive. And I'm like, well, not only are they probably upset that they cut weight, and had to go through a weight cut, but bigger than that, they probably had to spend a lot of money to even get there for somebody not to make weight and not be able to fight, because you don't get paid if you don't fight. People don't realize that.
Yeah, I actually had an instance with Cage Warriors. It was meant to be my last fight with them. And there was a girl that I knew wasn't going to make weight. Like I wasn't scared to fight her, but I just knew she wasn't going to make weight, wasn't going to be professional. I was going to make weight. And I had come to America, so I'd come out here. I spent thousands of dollars on training, got like really high level training, got all the private lessons. I was firing on all cylinders. I felt amazing. My weight was great. And we'd been saying to Cage Warriors the whole time, like, hey, if she misses weight, we're not going to take it, because we just wanted to like stand on that professionalism. And then I would have taken it if she had like at least tried to make the weight. But, yeah, I remember like the night before they hit something like, hey, will you do a catch weight at this weight? And we were like, no, because I was already on that weight, and I had to like start. I was like, I can cut this easy. And I was like, I wanted to be the professional and show up on weight. So I was like, I'm not agreeing to that. This girl showed up 8.5 pounds heavy. I was like, could I have beaten her? Probably. Like I'm not like, I don't doubt myself like that. But then out of like that whole professionalism, then in the off chance, like she was a good girl, you know, on the off chance that I did lose the fight, I would have been kicking myself. Yeah. So it's like saying I wasn't even going to break even that camp. Like say, like, yeah, you entry level fighters make 10K, but that's in the UFC. You don't think about the like tens of fights that we like. I had like I think 5 or 6 fights before getting into the UFC. Like I was making hundreds, I wasn't in the thousands.
Yeah.
Like, and then I was paying thousands for camps. Like, and it's very competitive these days. There's a lot of fighters. Like, it's harder to get sponsorships. It's hard to get that support. So like, there's a lot of finances that go into it. Because I remember when I got into the UFC, my friend was just like, "Oh, you're making all that money for like 15 minutes of work," and I'm like, "No, it's months of work,
right?
And then I have to do this." Yeah, it's definitely like you say, like it looks more glamorous in the moment. It's like, oh, you get a big paycheck just to go out there and have a scrap, but like there's a lot that goes into it behind the scenes.
Yeah, financially, mentally, emotionally, physically,
and then recovering your body too. When you put so much toll on your body. Yeah. It definitely takes a lot.
Yeah, I know about
that. So we wanted to ask you, we kind of went into, but how do you balance everything from making sure that you get the right training that you need to even just doing something as fun as like your mural painting that you like to do? How do you balance your life as a professional fighter?
A lot of coffee and a lot of stress. no, but I'm trying to do better at it. I used to like chronically overtrain, and I used to undereat a lot too. So like I was constantly having that battle of like just kind of running myself into the ground. Over the last year or two, I talk about it a lot. Like every time I have a fight, I'm always like, I've done better, but like I still haven't quite got it down. I don't know if I ever will. Like because I feel like every fighter has that. Like in order to be a good fighter, I think you have to have that like that desire to push yourself and always be doing more, always be doing better. Because otherwise, you just like stagnate.
Yeah.
But I was doing like 5-6 sessions a day, sparring like way too many times a week. And then I started getting the concussions and everything, and I really had to like learn to pull myself back. So I definitely do a better job now of like getting the quality over the quantity, because I was just running myself into the ground. And that was probably my biggest battle growing up in the sport, and always wanting to like close that gap and be one of the better people. And I was always just going at it. And it was actually, I feel like, counterproductive to my earlier years, because I was in like a lot of injuries, a lot of health issues, like stuff like that. So I've definitely done a better job with the balancing side of things, making sure that I'm like structuring my training, making sure that like I like to have my week planned on the weekend. Like I can't have everything planned for the whole month, because I understand that coaches have schedules and lives and stuff, but I at least like to on Sunday like have my whole week schedule written out, like make sure that I have adequate time to rest. With the murals, that's been cool, because like the people that I have worked with understand what I do. So like it's been a case of like, oh, I train, I go put a couple hours in, I train, I go put a couple hours in, and then I put more work in on the weekends, because like obviously on the weekends I don't take a rest day, but I will take a lighter day, and I'll consider that a rest day. I argue it with the coaches to where if I can like spread the training out enough to where I get 24 hours, I've technically got a rest day, even if it wasn't a solid day. So like, yeah, with that, I managed to balance it around training. Like training is always my priority. And I don't really feel like people talk about sacrifices that fighters have to make for training, but I've never really viewed it as sacrifice. I think it's like, it's prioritization. Like fighting is my priority. I'm enjoying the murals as a side hustle. It helps me pay my bills. Like we said, there's a lot of financial stuff that goes into this. I also coach, because again, it helps me pay for this. Yeah. Like I get a lot. It's funny because like I get a lot of grief online, like, especially after like I lost my fight. I get everyone's giving me hell. They're like you've had your whole life paid for, and it's like I've been coaching since I was 14. Like I'm like, yeah, I don't have a regular 9-to-5, but I'm still working my butt off and still prioritizing fighting. The balance is definitely hard, and I don't think that there is like I don't think there's an answer to how to do that. I don't
think there's not.
No, I think everyone has to find their own way. And I think like I'll be like, oh, I finally figured it out. And then, give me 6 months, I'll probably realize that actually that's not healthy. So, I don't know.
It's a give and take. It's a give and take.
Yeah. I'm trying to train at least 3 times a day and mural and coach and maybe sleep and eat. So yeah. The balance is probably the best. Like I'm trying my best, but I don't think that there is an answer for anybody. And I think it just comes down to what your priorities are. And for me, that's training and MMA. And so long as I get that in every day, I kind of supplement everything else around it and just do my best to fill my whole day and make sure I'm maximizing my time.
And you the biggest thing that you said from there was just do your best and be comfortable in knowing that you're doing your best, and don't put any more pressure than you have to. Because it's like MMA Twitter is the most like, it's funny that you said that, like, oh, people are like, oh, you lost your last fight. And dude, they are relentless. One of the best things that I learned with social media is from, I told you I'm good friends with Rafael dos Anjos, and I was like, bro, how do you even keep up with, because he'll post something, like he posted something this morning about Connor's toe being hurt. And he was like, he talked about me with a broken foot. And I was like, how do you like ignore these people with this? He said, Clinton, I do a post, I silence my notifications, and then I put my phone down. I go do whatever I'm going to do. And whenever I decide I want to get back on there and look, I get back on there and look. But until then, I don't even pay attention to or whatever, because they are MMA fans are ruthless.
Oh, I read everything. I have a couple that are still at me. Every time I post training, they're like, "Are you gonna do this again?" And I'm like, "I might. I don't know. Maybe." I don't care though, because it's like at the end of the day, like we said, like I know I'm doing my best. I know that I'm working as hard as I can. Like, and like I said before, there's always someone that, like, everyone at this level is working as hard as me. Like, it's just about, you know, who's got everything like a bit more lined up, or like who's game plan better, who shows up better. There's so many factors, but at the end of the day, we're all training like professional athletes. There's no one in the UFC that's not training like a professional fighter. They're not. No one's not taking it serious. So it's like, you know, like I'm not saying like I'm not better than these people, but at the same time, I'm realistic, and like go back to that being humble and not being able to have an ego. Like I don't think I'm like, you know, without working hard, I'm going to beat everyone in the world. Like I know I have to work hard and I have to keep my head down, and like so long as I'm doing that, I'm comfortable, because I know that I, like, no matter what, when I show up, I've done my best. And it's like, there's like, I can't beat myself up about it. I definitely did for a bit, but like now I'm, you know, I'm on the mats, I'm training hard, I'm doing my best, like I said. And, I'm comfortable with that. Like half these people on the internet, they're never gonna step into a cage. Like,
why? Look, I always laugh at people, and I'm like, because 99% of the time they have a fake profile picture of it, and I always put on there like, bro, I can't even take you serious trying to troll me, because you've got your picture, your profile picture is of another man like that. I just cannot take you serious. And half of them are probably either obese or stick figures, and never will have the courage. That's bigger than anything, is the courage to get inside the octagon. People don't understand that part, the mental part. It's yeah.
Yeah, most of them probably couldn't even walk into the gym. Let alone, you know what I mean? So it's like, I'm not gonna lose sleep over someone like that. Like at the end of the day, like the people that matter, like they don't really care. Like they understand. Like yeah, like that they still got your back whether you win or lose. Like the people that matter to me, they don't care about the result. They just care that I'm healthy, I'm mentally okay, and I'm ready to go again. Like at the end of the day, like these other people, they don't matter to me. They're not in my life. They're not living. They're not trying to do what I do. Like they couldn't if they wanted to. So it's like, I don't understand people that like let it beat them up. Like I know a few people that like they say they can't look at it because like it'll destroy them. And it's like, I find it funny because like some of the stuff they say is actually kind of well, to me, I would laugh. Like I used to live with Macy, and I told her, I was like, one of my favorite things to do is like when she posts, I like to like look at the comments, because some of them are hilarious. Like it's just, some of them are funny. So it's like, I don't know, I use it as entertainment and also like fuel. It's like, well, I'm just going to keep doing me and keep improving and prove them all wrong.
One of the best sayings that I ever heard was, those that matter, and those that don't. And I let it by. I don't even, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So I was curious, again, you're from Wales. How did you end up going to Sacramento of all places?
So when I finished high school, I knew I wasn't going to be going to college. So I left, like the high school finishes for us around like 16. It was around my 16th birthday. And we knew like there wasn't really any female training partners for me. My mom wasn't really training anymore. And we knew that I needed like next level partners to be pushing me and to take me to that next level, you know, especially given that I wanted to leave school and become a full-time fighter, and I wanted to take it really serious. So we went on a family holiday. The first one we went to, we did like a road trip. So I went to like King's MMA, Glendale, and then Team Alpha Male. So we did like a 2-week like tour. And then the second family holiday, the next year, I went to ATT, and then kind of just decided from there which gym I felt was like the best fit for me to start going and doing my fight camps at. And then when I turned pro at 18, I was around like 18, nearly 19, because I ended up tearing my arm on a training trip. So around like 18, I went and did my first training trip at Team Alpha Male, ready for what was meant to be my pro debut. That was where I tore my arm, and then it got delayed. But I ended up coming out here to do a fight camp, because like there was a bunch of girls here. Obviously, like even the guys are smaller. Like I had a reputation for being a smaller gym. Stylistically, it lined up with like kind of how I fought already, like with my old home gym. So I just felt like it was a good fit for me. And when I visited, like say, like I liked the family feel around here and everything. So yeah, I started coming out here once I turned pro, I started coming out here for my training camps. And then once I got in the UFC, it was around COVID time. I was able to get my visa. And then it was like, well, if I left, there was a good chance I wasn't going to come back for a few years. And I had that visa. So it was like, I might as well just stay out here. And I just haven't really built a life out here. I've gone back and visited, but like, this is kind of where I'm setting my roots.
Damn. How was the transition coming from UK to America? Was it pretty easy?
Yeah, I think because I was doing like, basically I would do 3 months on, 3 months off, because I would like do 3 months here, I'd get a fight, I'd stay home for a few months, I'd then book another fight, I'd come here for a few months. So it pretty much ended up being like 3 months on, 3 months off with my tourist visa. So I think because I was like kind of like phasing into like being here, I already knew everybody, I had stuff here, I had like a good group of people around me here. I think once it came to actually making that transition, it almost got to the point where it felt like coming home, which sounds, doesn't really sound bad. Like I do feel like I've just adopted like a second family out here. So it didn't really feel like, I didn't feel like I was coming into something alien, I mean, I'd already kind of built roots here, if that makes sense.
No, that's awesome.
So it wasn't much of a transition.
Yeah, and you're training so much with these guys. Like, everyone ends up being family because you just end up spending your entire life pretty much as surrounded around.
And Urijah, I hung out with him a little bit at UFC 300 in Miami, and he's the most humble guy, and like you can just tell the environment is very family oriented. So speaking of that, you're a part of Team Alpha Male. You got legends like Urijah Faber, Cory Garbrandt, Paige Van Zandt. What made you ultimately pick Team Alpha Male? Was it just because stylistically they were, or was it the family environment? What made you pick them?
Yeah, I definitely think it was a combination of each. Obviously, at the time, like I had like Cynthia Calvillo. I always say that wrong. Calvillo. I don't know how to say her last name. I'm sorry, Cynthia. And then like Sarah McMahon was out here for a bit. Like we had a good group of like girls that were on the regional scene. Like there was like a good like team base of girls here. And then like say the family feel of it, and also having the smaller guys, and like and stylistically, like say like I liked how they fought. So like it was just a combination of everything. Like I'm a very studious person, so like obviously like had my pros and cons list, like looked it up, weighed it up, and just ended up coming out here. Like I absolutely love the feel of the team. Like, and that's pretty much all there was to it really for me.
Yeah. When you know.
Yeah. That's it. Like Urijah really took me under his wing. Like I actually stayed with him for quite a few of my trips out here, like say, and then like, like I watch his kids and we're super close. So like, I do feel like Urijah very much like became like family for me. And then like I said, the rest of the team was amazing. So it just felt like the right fit for me.
Yeah. He seemed like he was always really down to earth dude, being from Sacramento. Like we always kind of looked up to him as a California kid, just like, oh my God, he's repping Sacramento very well. And he was always trying to help out the community whenever he could. So it seems like he's a really cool dude.
Yeah, no, he's super humble. Like, so I remember one time I stayed with him and there was like a street fair thing on for like, might be like 4th of July or something. And he was like, oh, let's go walk the street. He knew like everyone's name. Like they all knew him obviously, but he knew like all of his neighbors, like 3 blocks down, he knew who they were, like super about the community. And that's kind of how he is in the gym too. So it's really cool.
Well, I'm sure it helps also the fact that he creates that environment inside the gym and outside the gym, because that makes a big difference, because you can have like your gym family, but when you actually are family outside of the gym as well. And he isn't just, let's just be honest and candid. It's not like he's just some like guy that fought in the UFC. We're talking about a UFC Hall of Famer, like legend status. That's pretty big. And amazingly awesome that he's like that within the community and just down to earth. So
yeah.
So I had a quick question. How is it being able to learn and train under you? Obviously, he's a UFC Hall of Famer. You said he took you under his wing a little bit. Did he stylistically just like help you get to the UFC a little bit quicker? Like tell us a little bit about that route of like your transition
Yeah,
from cage fighting?
every time every time I'd come out here, you know, I would get to work with him. Like I would work privately with him. I'd do all his classes and everything. Yeah, so just very lucky to have him super involved. I do think obviously him whispering and mixed there helped me get onto the Contender Series, especially given that it was like COVID time and everything. And I had struggled because I had that girl that missed weight, and then my next fight got canceled COVID. So I ended up having like a year layoff, and I was like kind of like stuck because I couldn't get a fight. And even before that, we were struggling to find someone to take a fight with me because I'd already fought most people. So like I do think that he definitely helped like open up more doors and more opportunities for me, definitely. And then like you say, like he just made it so much easier to start transitioning to coming out here and just making sure that I was like, you know, like taken care of on the team.
That's amazing.
Right? Especially during COVID. That must have been really hard for you guys to, I mean, Dana White already did so much to try to make sure that you guys could continue fighting and stuff like that. Was it really hard to even like get people to want to compete against you?
I mean, once I got on the Contenders, it was cool. But I got the Contender Series in like August, so I did for the bulk part of COVID. I was in the UK, and it was like we actually right before they locked everyone down. I had my friend. It was literally the day that they made it illegal to go from England to Wales. I had my friend from England drive to Wales, and he slept in my garage. We had a matted out garage. He slept on an air mattress in the garage, and we just trained, me and him, just 3 times a day, every day. Like we would just do drills that the coaches would have us do. Like we would go for runs, like, you know, when we were able to sneak out and run. And we just had like a month training camp, and it was a strange time, but I was very grateful that I was able to have someone there to do that with me, because like if I was just by myself, I probably would have gone crazy.
Right.
But yeah, we spent a month locked in my garage, just training, like just lifting weights, just running, just drilling with each other, sparring with each other, like unsupervised. And I had this little like with this like little like it's like an 80, I think you guys call it an ADU, like a little building out in the back. And like, the walls were matted, the floor was matted, so we would just stick on our gear, go out there and just spar, like you know what I mean? Like we were like, oh, let's just go do it. And then once everything started opening up again, I ended up going to England because a lot of my old training partners there. We would just would roll out my old coach, who's now my manager. He had like roll out mats. We'd roll them out in his backyard, and we would all just wrestle, grapple, and everything out there. Like whether it was raining or what, we were just out there like grappling and doing MMA because it was illegal to be in the gyms, but we were allowed to train in public spaces. Like we're at parks, like sparring with each other and stuff. It was a very strange time, but by any means, you know, we wanted to get it done, so we stayed ready. And then yeah, I got the Contenders call, so I ended up coming out here in August. And then by that time, everything was starting to open up anyway. And by the time I got my first UFC fight in December, everything was open back up, so it was super easy.
Speaking of that fight, I still remember because you were on that Paul Felder RDA card. I remember your first fight in the UFC. How was it, especially you being like one of the youngest fighters? How was it? What was going through your mind that first fight there in Vegas?
Honestly, it just kind of felt like a daydream. Like I remember afterwards being like, oh, cool, like we did it. Okay, that was it. Like it just like almost felt like I floated through the week. It was like a really weird feeling. Like I wasn't like nervous, I wasn't overthinking it, but it also wasn't the same like excitement I usually have for a fight. Like it literally felt like kind of like an out of body experience. Like when you play something up in your head so much, so like your whole life, like you wanted to do this, and then you get there and you're like, someone pinch me. Like it was kind of like that the whole week. Definitely brought me back down to earth when I tore my ankle in the fight, but you know, I was glad to get it done, and I was super pumped to obviously be in there and be doing what I've been saying I was doing. You know what I mean? Like growing up, like leaving school to go straight to be a full-time fighter. Obviously, everyone was kind of like, I don't know, but yeah, like a lot of people are like, you can't do that. Like you'll be back in a couple years to like actually do something real. So it's like it was pretty cool to like finally see that all come together. But I do remember afterwards just being like, oh wow, like I was in a fight and I made it to the UFC. Wow, like it was just kind of like, it was kind of one of those, like, I don't know, it was really weird. Like I said, I wasn't scared, I wasn't nervous or anything, but I do remember just kind of being like, feeling like, say, like it was like a dream, like literally, like I just woken up from a dream, like I just had a fight. I was like, oh wow, okay, like that's cool.
That escalated quickly.
Yeah.
So was your mom there for the fight? Did she come to your fights?
They were all of my fights up until the Contender Series because of COVID.
Yeah.
I nearly didn't make the Contender Series. That was like probably the most stressful build up to a fight ever, just because of visa issues, travel restrictions. Like literally, I picked up my visa on the way to the airport.
Oh wow.
And if my visa had come in like 15, 20 minutes later, I probably wouldn't have made my flight. And the UFC were like, we've already rescheduled your flight twice. If you don't make this flight, it's not happening. We're done. Like, so it was a very
stressful situation. That sounds like a super stressful situation. Sheesh.
So, because I took the fight less than 3 weeks before the fight, because it was on a Tuesday and I took it on the Saturday. So it was probably like, I think it was like 2 and a bit weeks.
Yeah.
And yeah, like there were so many times through that week where my coach was like, "Hey, we can't do it. It's not happening. Like, sorry." And like, yeah, we would just be like, "We just got to accept it's not happening." And then it would be like, "It's on," and they'd be like, "Oh, it's not happening." They'd be, "It's on." And I'm like the roller coaster I was on. Like I remember like 2 days before I actually left, I'm on the treadmill, like I'm cutting weight, like I'm ready because like I took a short notice. And like my manager comes in, he's like, "Hey, it's really not looking good." And then like the next day, they're like, "Okay, you can do it, go." And like I had to like drive to the airport really quick, grab my visa. My parents met me at the airport, threw me a suitcase, and I was just out. Like it did not like that was probably like the craziest build up to a fight because it was like I didn't know if I was going to be fighting. So by the time I got there, I was just like, "Yeah, what can go wrong at this point?" Like it's gotta work. Like, yeah, so it was crazy, but that's like definitely something I'm glad worked, obviously.
That's crazy, man. That's literally the definition of just staying ready, like no matter what. Like the epitome of like, oh my God, up, down, up, down, up, down. Like how do you even mentally focus like going into that week? And it's your debut in the UFC. So I guess this is a question I like to ask all the fighters that we bring on. Like when you're getting ready and getting prepped during that week, is there a certain ritual or routine that you like to do either day of or during the week to get you super focused?
I don't really have like a ritual or anything. I feel like I do it different every time. For me, it's just, I'm learning to listen to my body. Like I've had a couple fights where I've probably more fights than not where I've gone into with like injuries, sickness stuff. So like for me, it's just making sure that I'm feeling recovered and feeling healthy. Like obviously I like to train all the way up to the fight. It's probably like the one thing I do I feel like a lot of fighters do it, but not everybody does. Like I know some people that take the whole fight week off. I know some people that like, they like to like cut down. Like me, I like to act like nothing's happening. Like I remember the first fight I had in the UFC. My manager flew out here early because I hadn't seen him for a while, and he spent the whole week with me. Like he came to Sacramento, and then he flew to Vegas with me on the Tuesday. And I remember on the Monday I did 4 sessions and a run because I don't count running as training. But and he was just looking at me like, "You're crazy." And I was like, no, I was like, I perform like at the end of the day, like I'm training like 3-4 times a day every day, and I'm sparring on Wednesdays. You know what I mean? Like, and I have to perform in sparring. So like, if I want to perform in the fight, like I don't want to rest. I don't rest day to day. Like I'm performing at my best when I'm training all the time and I'm keeping things sharp. So for me, I like to train all the way up to the fight. I get a lot of pushback on that, like from different coaches and everything. And I have changed it a little bit. Like I do taper off now a bit, but I still like to train all the way up to the fight, whether I'm doing, whether we've cut it down to 1 or 2 sessions, like I'm still training all the way up to it. And just kind of like, and I think that helps me with the whole not feeling nervous, not feeling stressed.
I was gonna say,
like,
yeah.
Another day in the office, like there's no build up. Like I'm not waiting for this event. Like I'm just going through the moves. I'm going through my week to week, and just sparring on Saturdays a little harder than it usually is.
Yeah, it definitely would take the anxiety out of it because leading up to a fight, I've been with different fighters where they had your mentality where they wanted to train and some that take that week off. And taking that week off is like pure torture, especially during a weight cut, because it's like the more you're sitting there thinking about, oh, I've got to cut this, oh, I've got to do this, and then whatever else, it only adds to the stress throughout.
Yeah, I did it once. I did it once, and then it ended up being the first time I had to like actually cut weight, because when I was younger, I didn't cut weight.
Yeah.
Just because like, you know, it was hard enough to find girls, let alone like trying to cut weight and trying to like, I just fought. But yeah, it was like one of my first times cutting actual weight at amateur, and I took the week off like everybody suggested. Probably the worst fight I've ever had. I just got slow.
Stir crazy.
I'd never taken a week off in my life. I don't think I took a full week. I think I took like 4 days. Like I took like most of the week off. And like I would break a sweat by like jogging or something, but I wasn't like training like hard. I wasn't doing MMA or anything. I just felt I felt sluggish. Like I didn't feel like I was firing. And like I said, like I had never taken a week off in my life. Like I still haven't since. You know, like even when I'm injured, I'm in the gym training at least like once or twice a day. Like I was in the gym when I tore my ankle, training every single day. Like I had never taken time off, so it didn't really make sense to me that like when the biggest event of my life came around that I would then suddenly be like, oh, let me pump the brakes and rest. Like
let me change things up.
Yeah, like let me change things now. Like everything's been going good. Let me now change things. It doesn't really make sense to me. That's probably like the only thing I do is I just train all the way up to it and just act like it's another day.
So you don't go through a regular weight cut then?
I do now. Now okay. I do. When I was younger, I was a lot smaller. Like I used to walk around pretty much at weight, but now I'm like huge and jacked and stuff.
You're like,
so
I'm just stronger than everyone.
Flex on. Look, it's over there. So
that was a joke. I'm gonna get blamed for that.
I like it.
Just flex on him.
So let me ask you: do you have anything coming up in the works, or do you have anybody that you would like to fight?
I've been asking pretty much since my last fight. I've been asking. I'm a sore loser, so I want to fight so that I can stop being a loser. But I keep asking. They keep saying that they're pretty booked up, and they'll let us know when they have something. And unfortunately, like I say, we're at that level where everybody wants to fight, and they've got so many people on the roster and so many cards. So it's like I understand it's frustrating, but I just got to wait until they throw someone our way. I don't really feel comfortable calling for anybody coming off of my last fight. And also I'm one of those people that's just like, I'll fight whoever if it makes sense. Obviously I'm not going to fight like the champ on the paycheck that I'm on right now. But like, you know, I'm down to fight anybody so long as, as long as they're offering them. It makes sense, and
if it makes dollars, it makes sense. Is what I'll say.
Yeah. There's plenty of girls to fight. Like I don't have anyone in particular. Like the roster is so full. I think I'm in like I'd say arguably strawweight's one of the busiest and toughest divisions in
it. The definitely, in
the women's like UFC area. You know what I mean? So I just feel like, in some ways I'm misfortunate for that, because they say it's like the level's so high and it's so competitive and there's so many girls, so like it's hard to like kind of like get in there because everyone's booked up and the cards are full. But at the same time, like it also is great because like I don't know what's next.
It's more competition too.
Yes, exactly. So it's exciting, but I just have to wait and hope Vic throws something our way soon.
Yeah, definitely. So we're gonna get to the part now, rapid fire questions. Like she
You're a planner. You're a planner.
She's definitely a planner. I noticed right away that you were a planner. That's why I kind of gave you one of the rapid fire questions up front, because I could see already the wheels on the bus up there were spinning. So we'll pop right into it. Who was your favorite fighter growing up?
So I never actually had a favorite fighter, mainly because all my favorite fighters were the people I trained with, because I loved being able to see like their work ethic, how much work they put into. So for me, it was actually like people like my current manager, Jack Mason, Arnold Allen. There was a guy called Sean Carr. Like it was like all the regional guys, because as much as like I got to see like the UFC fighters and they're super cool, like amazing, love their stuff, like obviously look up to all of them, respect them all. But at the same time, like I loved watching like the local guys, because I got to see the work that they were putting in, and I got to see the work ethic and see them as people other than just these superstars that you see on a Saturday.
So who's the best striker in the UFC?
Alex Pereira.
Alex Pereira? Okay. He's fighting.
I just posted yesterday. I got to hang out with him. People don't realize too, when he punches, you know, he worked as a brick mason back in the favela whenever he was a kid. He dropped out in middle school. and worked, and maybe it was because he was doing masonry work. Dude, his hands are like a Big Mac sandwich. They're like this. I went to shake his hand and it felt like that commercial.
The mini hand.
Like I had like a little mini hand. Yeah, I was like, big man, little hands. Like, oh, sheesh.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's opposite of me. Maybe I need to go start like, I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
Who would
be
be
my next fight? Like,
go work as a mason. Who would be a dream fight matchup that you would like to see in the UFC?
John Jones and Brock Lesnar.
Oh, okay.
John Jones versus anybody is always, well, I mean,
I'd have to go with him, but still. Who do you think would win?
John Jones,
right? Okay.
John Jones.
Easy peasy.
You can't.
Okay. What fighter, this can be anyone, right, that you don't know, would you like to have dinner with if you could give the opportunity?
Chael Sonnen, because he's funny.
Chael Sonnen.
Oh, that would be
bad guy.
That would be.
And at least if I can't have a conversation with him, I can practice talking smack.
Right.
I don't think you would probably be able to talk because he likes to hear himself talk too much.
Even better, when my social battery's out, I'll just be like, go ahead, buddy.
I love it. I love it. What is your favorite cheat meal?
You already warned me about this question.
I warned you. I gave you the heads up. I gave you the heads up.
I'm going to go with ramen because I discovered that when I moved out here, and anytime I'm not feeling too good, emotionally or physically, that tends to be what I go and get. So I'm gonna go with ramen.
Are we talking about top ramen or are we talking about real ramen?
Real ramen.
Okay.
Come on.
She's a classy girl. Does she look like she eats top ramen?
No, I mean, shoot. I devoured that in college, but man, sometimes it tastes. I know it's bad for you, but it's.
I'm on the broke fighter lifestyle, but I'm not that rich. Like there's a grocery outlet next door. I can always get some like semi-real food.
Alrighty, so we're just getting to know you a little bit. What's your favorite movie of all time?
I'm between Matilda and How the Grinch Stole Christmas, but I also loved Final Destination as a kid, which is a very different. It's a little bit different from the genre. I'm gonna go with Final Destination because I love thinkers and I love like the whole trying to guess what's gonna happen.
Why could I whenever 10 minutes into the interview, why did I know Final Destination was gonna be the movie that you were gonna
sure, but a little bit intriguing, very thriller.
Yeah, I quote it a lot in life. Like people are like, do you want to do this? And I'm like you know, you're on your freeway and they've got like those big trucks with the logs.
Every time.
I'm like speeding to try to get past. I'm like,
so I'm gonna tell you something right now. We might be, and I did 23andMe, and my family is from Wales, the UK. We might be cousins because I am the same exact way. He laughs at me all the time. He didn't know what the movie was the first time, and we were driving somewhere
to LA.
We were going to LA, and somebody had like one of those ones where they have all these.
It was like wood, and then there was like a ladder that was like teetering or whatever. He's like, oh no.
Oh, I was doing 120 to get around them, and he's like, what's going on? And I'm like, bro, I'm not gonna be in Final Destination 6. I mean, they're up to like 6 or 7 of them now, but I was like, no, I'm not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. Not me.
Yeah, I had a friend, and we would always like do movie marathons, and like Final Destination was always my favorite. But I'm one of those people that like I'm insufferable to watch movies with because I have to guess the ending before it finishes, and no matter how hard I try, I just can't. Like, so it's like the perfect movie because I'm like, that's gonna get him, and then
when I come up there, we are definitely gonna have to hang out because I'm telling you, I'm the one that like people hate watching movies with me because as the movie's going on, I'm like, bro, you know she's gonna be the killer. I can tell you she's gonna be the killer because this happened. And people would be like, bro, can you just shut up and watch the movie? And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to tell you. Let's just cut to the chase. I bet you she's the killer.
Yeah, I was watching a movie with Angela Hill and her husband the last time I was down there training, and I made a comment towards the beginning, And like they took the mick out of me a lot, and they started teasing. I was like, all right, I'm gonna shut up. And then at the end, her husband had missed one of the details. So Adam, if you're watching this, he had missed one of the details, and I was like, well, yeah, like it's because of this. And he was like, why didn't you say something? I'm like, because you bullied me. Yeah, so,
that's epic.
Yeah, Final Destination is top tier, and if you don't appreciate it,
it definitely makes me aware. I actually almost got off of the planes one time. I flew Spirit. Don't judge me.
I do that too.
I flew Spirit one time, and I got on the plane, and I went to turn the knob, and the little thing broke off. And I promise you, remember how that feeling you said during your fight where everything was just kind of floating? Everything in me wanted to get off of the plane, but I had like an agenda I had to go do. Everything in me was like, Final Destination. Oh, I'm going to die. All the way through that flight from here to Vegas, I was thinking the whole time, please, God, don't let me go. Please just let me make it. Let me make it. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. The slight bit of turbulence. I'm like, this is it.
Exactly. Same. So, last one. If there was a zombie invasion, what one fighter would you want by your side?
I feel like I would shoot myself, so I need someone that would do the shooting. So I'm gonna steal your answer, and I'm gonna go with Sean Strickland. But he's also like big enough to be a good bait if I need to just like
see what I'm saying.
Just run away.
See what I'm saying? You're gonna be faster than him too. It's a double win. You know,
exactly.
He's all good until he gets injured, and then you can push him to the side, outrun him. See?
Yeah, I'm not quite American enough yet to be able to go literally guns blazing, so I think that'd be great. I'm not going to
give it a few more years
out there, just like, you know what I mean? So.
I got you. All right, so this last one, and you're a thinker, so this is going to be a deep one, right? So you're gonna have to answer this one. I know you got to get back to training because you train 53 times a day. If today was your last day, what do you want to be remembered for?
Okay. What do I want to be remembered for? I'm going to give you probably a slightly different answer. I want to be remembered for saving all the dogs. I've been saving a lot of strays and rehoming strays. I got 2 little rescue boys. I'm already talking with one of the girls at the gym, and we're talking about building a nonprofit and helping like assault victims, and also tying it in with rescuing dogs. We're still working on actually getting it set up, but we want to do like she owns land, and we're talking about doing like retreats and stuff, like helping like sexual assault, and like there's a lot of sex trafficking in California. We want to help those victims to like have a safe space to come to, and also like teach self-defense. But we also want to like kind of tie in with like my passion. Like, I seem to attract dogs. I'm like a dog magnet. I've been saving a bunch of them lately. So we want to kind of tie that in, and also like pair people up with emotional support animals, and hopefully like get like a 2-for-1 in this nonprofit. So I'm hoping we can get that started, and that would be a pretty cool thing to remember. I don't know if I could do it in a day, but
no, that'd be really cool.
I've already saved like 6 dogs, so I'm going down the crazy dog lady route. So I want to save all the dogs.
That's cool.
Really cool.
So twofold. Let me know, and let's please keep in touch. I, not to give you my whole Jerry Springer, I was a sexual assault victim as a child, and it took me many years to kind of get to a place where I felt like I had a safe space and a safe place to be able to unearth things and to be able to mentally and emotionally be comfortable enough to let those things out and finally confess those things and speak on those things and be able to release that energy so that I could progress. So definitely keep in touch. Whatever I can do to help with that. And, it's not something that happens in a day, but anything that I can do or help be a part of with you on that, partnering or whatever, I would love. It would be, it's one of the big things and one of the reasons why we started this podcast actually was not just to have fighters on and not just to talk about fighting, but to talk about the journeys that people go through as fighters, and understanding that they emotionally have things, mentally have things, and all of those things, so that people understand when they get ready to go to troll, which it might not change a lot of people's things, but when they get ready to go to try to troll or to, talk bad about somebody, they think to themselves, this is an actual person that goes through and has been through things, as opposed to just looking at them as, oh, they're just a fighter, so I'm going to say whatever.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, that would be great. Like I say, we're working on it. She's competing this weekend. She's got like the wrestling trials. But when she gets back, we're going to sit down, have like a business meeting. We've been looking into how to set up the nonprofit and everything. And it's just something we're both passionate about helping. Like we keep running into people that have been through this. Like I haven't met many people who haven't been through something. Unfortunately, it's obviously more prevalent in women, but like say like yourself and everyone, like I think it's great to have a male perspective and show that it's not all one-sided. But yeah, something we're very passionate about. Like a lot of people talk about wanting to help and wanting to do things and wanting to change everything. And we were just kind of like, you know what, like we have the opportunity. Like I've got the platform. She has the the facility and the like the passion, and she has a lot of women that are like, because she teaches a lot of the women's jiu-jitsu and self-defense anyway, she has a lot of women that are coming to her. So we were like, you know what, let's pull together and let's try to build something. So I'm really hoping that something comes of this, because I'm one of those people that, if you haven't told, that I like to make a plan. So we've already got a lot of stuff planned, and I'm really hoping that we're able to like really get this started.
Yeah, that's amazing. And like I said, for real, let me know anything that I can do to help or to facilitate or partner up with you on. I would love to be able to help in whatever way. Yeah, it's a very passionate thing for me, and I speak on it a lot. And it's one of those things that I had a lot of guys, because I manage UFC fighters. I've fought amateur, not on the level of, but I fought some amateur fights. And, I grew up in all of this and that. And, I had so many men. It was hard for me at first to come out and say, hey, this happened to me. But it was kind of like one of those things that until you can confess to the world what happened to you, it's like a monkey on your shoulder. And once I did, I had so many guys, there were some fighters, there were regular guys, a lot of people that reached out and said, hey, this happened to me too. Thank you for sharing, so that I didn't feel like I was alone in having to go through this. So it's a big thing, and I commend you on stepping up and doing that.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm hoping we'll have something started soon. Like, so we have to build we're literally gonna like try to build everything from scratch, like build some shelter. It's like, convert a barn into a gym. Like, yeah, we've got some big plans. It's obviously it's gonna take months to actually come to fruition, but we're just hoping to be able to actually make a change and give back, instead of I feel like a lot of people speaking out helps, but like I said, we want to actually try to make changes,
facilitate things. Yeah,
and there's actually my mom used to work for one of the companies in Sacramento. There's a lot of sex trafficking in Sacramento specifically, so it's going to help even tremendously. So there's a lot of funding out there actually in Northern California that would want to help you out too. So like you said, I know it hits home with him. He shared a lot of his story with me because we worked together. And yeah, if you ever need anything from us, I can reach out to my mom and see if there's any other federal stuff or funding that she might know of.
That would be amazing.
Because she doesn't work with them anymore, but she was the CFO. So she directly worked with a lot of the funding and might be able to at least go in a direction for you guys to help with this facility.
Yeah, that would help massively.
Yeah,
thank you. Yeah, because we're going to be doing most of it ourselves. Right. I've already been researching how to build dog shelters and make fences and stuff. I'm pretty stubborn, so any help will obviously help us massively. I'm excited for when she gets back into town. So we're going to sit down and actually come up with a plan and everything, and kind of pull our resources together. I've been kind of putting feelers out and trying to do researches into funding and people to be interested. I know a few people that have sex trafficking stories and assault stories. Unfortunately, I know more people that do than don't. So that's why we were kind of you know what, you talk about it till you're blue in the face, but it doesn't actually change anything. And like you said, like a lot of people don't feel safe coming forward. So yeah, we want to like really try to do something and facilitate change. And whilst we're at it, I want to save all these poor dogs because I think they deserve better than people most of the time.
And I think it's a twofold thing. Those people, because when you are sexually assaulted, it's hard for you to take on love and all of those things because you don't think or feel like you're worthy of those things. So to be able to have those pets and give them a second chance as too, that's an amazing.
Yeah, it would actually work really well.
Yeah, cool. That whoever came up with that, that's a super ingenious way and amazing. Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I just I rehomed a little shepherd on Sunday. Breaks my heart to see them go, but I'm so happy. Like the owner's sending me pictures of him and everything. He's like a little 2-month-old puppy that I rescued, and yeah, I'm really excited. And I really hope that like I said, like I don't want credit for it. I don't want the clout. Like I feel like a lot of people use this stuff just to get just to get that clout and everything. Like honestly, like we're only really speaking to people that it could benefit and like just trying to like get it off the ground. And like you say, like we're just hoping to build something that's good and honest. And yeah, I'm really hoping it comes to fruition over the summer, and hopefully by the end of the year we can get things rolling.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to it.
Yeah, thank you so much for stopping by and sharing more of your story today. We learned so much about it, and yeah, we're excited for the future for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no doubt. We appreciate it. If you need anything, let you know. I'm going to DM you. I'll send you my number as well to keep in touch and let me know anything that I can do or help with up there. I'm here for.
Oh, amazing. Thank you. Yeah, we'll probably like say reach out to you and ask you to be a spokesperson or like say like help connect us with people.
Whatever I can do. And I have a lot of affiliations. Whatever I can do to help, I'm here to do. It's something I'm passionate about. Plus, with you talking about it, it's one of those things. So
yeah. Okay, amazing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm glad we got on that topic.
I know, right? Have a good rest of your day.